So Bungie just had their Edge of Fate reveal, okay? And if you missed my reaction to it, I live streamed the whole thing. Check it out, it's on the channel. Let's go to live tab here on the channel and you can see my reaction. But with that, we got a ton of stuff that they revealed, and I'm gonna go through some of my highlights, okay? There's gonna be some stuff I'm gonna miss. This isn't like the most in-depth kind of video. This is my highlights, okay? Kind of the things that I think stuck out the most. If you enjoy this kind of content, leave a like, subscribe for more, and let me know what your highlights were from this stream. Now, I wanna say first and foremost that when I first started watching this stream, I was a little skeptical. Destiny's been hit or miss over the past few years. I feel like, you know, it's been a little bit messy lately. I don't know. They've went from like, we're doing big expansions, and then it was like, we're going to do smaller expansions. We're going back to big expansions. We're going to do episodes. No, actually scratch that. We're not going to do episodes after these first 3 episodes. And now they're going back to expansion. So the way that this is going to work is we're actually going to some like kind of bigger kind of expansion. I'm going to throw a screenshot up on screen that I took from the stream, and you guys can see how this is broken down. So essentially, we're getting 2 expansions in a single year. We're getting one this summer, July 15th, 2025, called The Edge of Fate. The second one is going to be December 2nd, 2025, and it's called Renegades. Now, one thing about Renegades we're going to mention in a second. One thing I noted when I first revealed the logo, I'm like, that looks a little like Star Wars. Why does it look a little like Star Wars? Well, because it is. We'll talk about that in a second. The Edge of Fate is going to explore a brand new locations, obviously new stories, new missions, everything like that. What they said about these expansions, there's 2 expansions in a year. So instead of one massive expansion and then, you know, kind of like drip feeding stuff, it's going to be 2 big, not massive, but 2 big expansions. Not as big as something like, you know, classic expansions with, you know, the final shape or whatever, stuff like that. But more like bigger than Rise of Iron is what they were saying. Rise of Iron was a really good expansion in my opinion. I had a lot of fun with that expansion. So, you know, the potential is there to deliver some really good content with these kind of, you know, sizes of expansion. What was not good was Curse of Osiris. That was like one of the worst that ever came out. So Edge of Fate, big expansion, bigger than Rise of Iron. Renegades, again, same thing. So 2 big ones. Now, what are they going to be doing? We got the reward pass, of course, right? What they're not going to be doing is locking any kind of seasonal activities or anything behind you know, paid content. It's going to be free for everybody. So before, you know, there's certain content that was locked behind, you know, the paywall for the DLC or whatever. Content's going to be available, like activities, seasonal activities or whatever. It's going to be available for everybody. So they're going to be doing, I guess they're going back to seasons, as you can see, right? We got seasons, major updates. We got season reclamation, which is what they're showing for the Edge of Fate, and then season lawless for the Renegades one. Again, reward pass for both, but then halfway through that, there's also major updates. So we got Destiny 2 Edge of Fate coming out July 15th, but then halfway through at September 9th, we got a major update called Ash and Iron. And then same thing with Renegades. We got, you know, the big one, what is it, December 2nd, and then a major update a few months later on March 3rd called Shadow and Order. So that's kind of how they're going to be refreshing it and kind of keeping it, I guess, you know, keep the longevity for the content, if you will, right? And as you can see, right, the expansions are going to be new stories, new locations, new missions, new weapons, new gear, new raid, new dungeon. So we're getting the new raid in the Edge of Fate, and then we're getting the new dungeon. New raid in Edge of Fate, new dungeon in Renegades, as they note there. The major updates are going to be new and reprised activities, new sandbox meta, new events, new modifiers and challenges, new gear and artifact mods, and then the reward pass is going to have exotic and weapon and ornaments, legendary weapon and armor ornaments, cosmetics, and more. So it's going to have stuff like that in terms of the reward pass. So I guess they're going to be switching up a little bit how it works. Now, beyond that, they also announced a brand new portal kind of thing that they're going to be introducing with the Edge of Fate, which is going to be more like of a streamlined kind of thing where you can sort of go in and just select a category. So for example, there's solo ops, which would be, you know, if you just want to play by yourself or some kind of quicker activities, if you don't have a lot of time in your hands, you can just go into there. And you know, there's like fire team ops, different things like that. Pinnacle ops, if you want to do more like kind of bigger, harder, challenging activities that will give you pinnacles and stuff like that. So there's that new kind of tab that's a little bit more streamlined in that sense. But you can also see on the screen there is also the world tab still there as well if you want to see the world. So that's really cool. Edge of Fate and Renegades are of course 2 different storylines that are going to be taking place, but with all of that, starting today, we're getting a brand new it's sort of like a prologue, right? It's part of Destiny 2 Heresy, but it's called Rite of the 9, and it's sort of a prologue. And again, as you've seen with the emissaries or whatever of the 9, that's kind of what this whole Edge of Fate is going to be exploring. And this is a new saga, by the way. So they're talking about that this is going to be exploring a whole new saga, kind of like the last 10 years of Destiny was one saga. This is going into a new saga, like the Fate saga, I think is what they called it, and exploring, you know, all this different stuff. Basically, what they're saying is like with the 9 and stuff, you know, they're like the extraterrestrial kind of alien types, right? They're like, if there's like aliens and there's like, you know, aliens and there's the 9 are like, you know, aliens or whatever. That's how they said it. I don't know. Their words, not mine. Okay. But yeah, so with Heresy Rite of the 9, we're going to get a little bit of a prologue, and that's going to kind of introduce some of the tidbits, if you will, going into the Edge of Fate, right? And so you can kind of, you know, see what that's all about. We're basically getting invited to this location, and that's kind of how that's going to work, you know, with the storyline. Now, that aside, let me talk really quick about a couple other things. So with Edge of Fate, again, we're going to be going to a brand new location, kind of like towards the edge of the galaxy, of the universe or whatever. And it's going to be exploring this whole new storyline, a lot of mysteries and stuff, but a lot of new mechanics that I noted as well. So for example, there's one that you can turn into like sort of like this electric ball, and you can kind of bounce around and zip around the whole area. And this will, they said, allow you to kind of, you know, for example, if you want to kind of like speed launch off a hill to get to a location that you can't jump to, you could do that in these locations. If there's like a crack in the wall that your guardian can't fit through, well, you know, there's certain areas you like, sort of like I guess from what I've seen, it's like these devices, I guess, that you can turn you into just like electric ball. You go into the cracks of the wall and stuff. So there's all this crazy stuff going on in terms of mechanics with that. You know, in terms of the Renegades expansion, that was actually Star Wars based, believe it or not. So they're teaming up with Lucasfilms for an actual like Destiny kind of Star Wars expansion, where you actually, from what we've seen there, you know, the hunter is seen with a pistol that looks like a Star Wars blaster, right? I think it was the Warlock had a weapon that looked like a lightsaber, but apparently like this is an actual expansion, but it's sort of like a partnership, I guess, to some extent with you know, Star Wars, Lucasfilms. They didn't go too much into that. They said they'll reveal it more in September. So we really don't have much to go off of besides a very short trailer that they showed off, but it looked really freaking cool. And there's another bundle as well called the Dark Side Legends Armor Ornament Bundle. It's the Year of Prophecy Ultimate Edition. And basically it's, again, you get all these Star Wars kind of skins, you know, Kylo Ren, Darth Vader and whatnot. It looks pretty sick, I'll be honest. Okay, they wrote me back in. One thing that I think people are going to be really excited about, the shooting range. The shooting range is going to be coming to the game. I think it was next week. There's going to be an event, and with that event, they're going to be introducing the shooting range in the tower, and that shooting range is going to be permanent. So with the shooting range, it's going to be exactly what you think. You can test out your weapons, different enemies, right? There's different enemy types. You can have enemies at different distances. So you can really kind of like lock in and figure out what is the best meta and what is the best kind of loadout to kind of take into whatever activity you want to do. And I think that's really convenient and really good. And that's gonna be super helpful. I mean, the shooting range, right? It's long overdue, but better late than never, as they do say. So that's going to be coming. Events, they're going to be having all kinds of events. Like I said, this weekend they're going to be having this event called I think it was Briggs versus Tanks. They said it's going to be called Heavy Metal, and essentially it's fighting Briggs versus tanks. And if you participate in this event, you're going to have this sort of, you know how you kind of like call in your Sparrow. Well, it's going to replace the Sparrow and the slot, and it's going to be a vehicle that you can summon, but it's a vehicle that not just zips around, but it can actually shoot. Okay, you can shoot things with it. So you can summon a vehicle that can actually shoot and attack enemies. So that's really cool, and that's an event reward. And these events, by the way, are completely free. Tons of free content. I think these events are something that is really exciting and really kind of feels a little bit more in the direction of Destiny 1, you know, in my opinion anyways. Also, if it wasn't obvious, the Plague Lands from Rise of Iron is going to be returning the first major update, which is called Ash and Iron. So if you remember the Plague Lands from that DLC, yes, it is returning, which is really exciting. People are keep asking, what about Wrath of the Machine? Is that going to be returning? I mean, hopefully, I don't know if it will, but also being introduced in Edge of Fate, we're going to be getting brand new enemy types, Fallen, Corsairs, Vex, Kobolds, or however you pronounce them. So they did show off a little bit of that as well in the actual reveal. So, I mean, again, new enemy types is always a good thing. And then Armor 3.0, I mean, this is something that, you know, is they didn't go super deep into, but essentially what they're going to be introducing now is, for example, if you have like a set, like, so if you have a full set of gear, there's going to be set bonuses now, which has been something that a lot of people have been asking for quite some time. That is one thing. Like I said, energy can go up to 11 now, which is kind of insane if you think about it. And then, like I said, stats can actually go past 100, and going past 100 will introduce kind of bonuses and different things like that as well that they kind of mentioned. Now, beyond that, they didn't really go too much into the details of Armor 3.0. They mentioned a couple things like that, which I think are massive and really good quality of life improvements. But there's going to be more, of course, to kind of dive into at a later date that they'll kind of explain a little bit more of, you know, later on. So in terms of highlights, I think that covers the most of it. Again, there's a lot of stuff in this stream, but I'm trying to give you, you know, the stuff that kind of stuck out to me the most, some of my personal highlights. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more, and all that good stuff. And like I said, let me know your thoughts about all this content. I think it looks promising. I mean, we're not going to really know until we get hands-on, I guess, and see a little bit more. But there's a lot of cool stuff in what they're kind of showing off. And yeah, it's just fun. So right now, like I said, Rite of the Nine is out today, right now. So that's kind of your prologue to the Edge of Fate. And then going into the Edge of Fate, there's a lot more that's going to be coming. So let me know your thoughts. Stick around for more. Thanks for watching. Until the next one. Game on. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Hey you! What are you doing? Join the Skeleton Army! Do it today! Don't wait till tomorrow because tomorrow might never come. The Earth is gonna fade, that's inevitable. The next second of your life's not even promised, so you better think about where you're going, and you might as well just join the Skeleton Army. Plus, we do kind of like you a little bit, so it'd be nice to see you around here. But if you don't want to, hey, your loss. See you later.